Hello and welcome to the Docking Bay 77 podcast YouTube channel. I am one of the hosts, Dayton Johnson. Joining me on this Versus episode, longtime friend and artist, it is John Wright. How you doing, John?
Well, this is a video, right? I have
Yes,
a face for radio and a voice for print. So,
I love it. Love it. So yes, we are doing another one of our Versus episodes. That's where we take an original song and compare it to a cover version. Now, this one's a little different because the cover was done by somebody who helped write the original. So, with that in mind, we are reviewing the song Ride the Lightning, originally by Metallica, and covered recently by the band Megadeth. So, yes, like I said, of course, Metallica did it first. Megadeth just did it on their most recent album. But, you know, Dave Mustaine shares a writing credit on this one. So, real quick, some history. In case you're very young or have been living under a rock for 40 years, Dave Mustaine was one of the original members of Metallica. He was fired during the recording sessions for Kill 'Em All, and then Kirk Hammett replaced him, and apparently did use some of Mustaine's gear in the studio, which I'm sure did make people happy. There was a feud for many years, many years, but we will not go into details on that for this particular episode. You can Google it and look it up, and I'm sure there's plenty of things you could read on that. But anyway, so I kind of feel like Mustaine doing a cover of this song is either him saying, getting a little bit of closure, or maybe saying I can do it better. So, do you have thoughts?
I mean, the only thought I really have about this, and it's really not about the song, is about how the hell do you get kicked out of a band nicknamed Alcoholica for being too much of an alcoholic?
Well, I think he was just such a mean person when he was drinking. I
Yeah,
mean, but
yeah,
yes.
he really was. I don't think it's so much, and we'll get into this in a couple of minutes because I have a statement from Mustaine regarding this
Okay. Okay.
particular
Cool.
track. But I don't think it's like it's a middle finger towards Metallica in any way, shape, or form. I think he's finally willing to put the past in the past,
Okay.
at least for now. This is Dave, and he's a little
Emotional?
bipolar.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
I remember when they were doing the Big Four thrash tour, and when all the band members come out at the end to play together, Dave typically didn't come out and join them, at least for a few of this. Like
no, he was back. He was out. It
okay,
was it was a couple of guys from Slayer didn't come out.
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
there's video of like him and Lars goofing around, him and James goofing around.
okay,
So, I think for the most part the feud's dead. I think everybody's
okay,
kind of willing to let it die finally, until Metallica does something to piss him off again. But no, I think this is intended as some closure.
okay. All right, yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping. That maybe he's saying, you know what, I'm going to record one of my songs, and why not do it? So,
Mhm.
all right. So let's jump into some facts about the original song, Ride the Lightning, which of course appeared on the album Ride Lightning from 1984. And my favorite album from the band. The album was released originally on Megaforce Records July 27th, 1984. Later, it would be re-released by Elektra Records. The album itself went gold in 1987 and has since been certified 6 times platinum. Now, the writing credits for this song include James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, the late great Cliff Burton, and of course Dave Mustaine. Although never released as a single, it continues to be a fan favorite and consistently be part of their live set. And yeah, for good reasons, because it's a fantastic song. So, all right, let's jump into thoughts on the original. Um, Real quick, we actually did a full review of the entire album a few years ago, so you can go back through our stream and check that out. John was a part of that particular episode, so yeah, go back and check that out. So, thoughts on the original?
Uh, if we're gonna go ahead and jump right in and comparing the original to the new version,
Okay.
the sound quality on the original is much deeper. The guitars are much more upfront.
Okay.
And James's vocals are listening to it with earphones and listening to it on a decent stereo system. You can tell they're enhanced quite a bit. There's some echo and reverb and stuff on that.
Okay.
Because let's face it, James does not have the greatest voice. Not saying that Dave does either. You know, they're both their own unique individuals and kind of an acquired taste, so to speak.
Right.
Um,
Fair.
but this song, it's easy to see why it's remained part of the set list. It's a strong song. It builds. It shows what the band is really capable of because you kind of get all aspects. You get some commercially stuff. You get some slower stuff.
Right.
You get some thrash breakdowns. Matter of fact, it's got one of the best middle breakdown sections out of their catalog. I love that
Yes.
section.
Yes.
Um, you know, and it definitely gets the crowd moving. I mean, they when that when that bass kicks in and the drums kick in, you know, they're pogoing and screaming and everything. So yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite songs from Metallica.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I love everything about this song. Lyrically, it's awesome. And according to what I read, the title comes from the book, Stephen King book, The Stand. Somebody made a comment that, you know, referencing it, riding the lightning is basically getting killed by the electric chair. So fun. The opening is great. The main riff is super cool. The song grabs you from the jump. I love the arrangement. As you said, it builds very nicely. And yes, that middle section has such a scorching guitar solo. It's just awesome. It's the song never slows down in a way like you don't get bored. Like, you know, it keeps moving and keeps you interested, and it just does a really good job of what's coming next. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I like that, and it's one of the rare songs that is just awesome from beginning first note to the last note, and which is honestly why in recent years it actually has become my favorite track on this particular album, and for good reason. So yeah, it's a stellar song. And so when I heard that Mustaine was covering it, I was like, that'll be interesting.
yeah.
So,
I had the same reaction. It's like, okay, first of all, is why, but second of all was okay. I mean, he's got a right to do it.
well, yeah, I mean, and it definitely
So
turned out better than his version, than Mechanics, you know, versus the Four Horsemen.
yeah, go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah, so we
Jesus.
covered Kill 'Em All and Killing Is My Business. So yes,
Yeah,
yeah, we had a lot to say about that particular song. So
we sure
anyway,
did.
sure did.
Yeah, but it's interesting, like you say, it keeps the pace from beginning to end, because the when you said that, the first thing that popped into my head is Master of Puppets.
Right.
Or not Master of Puppets. Yeah, Master of Puppets has
Yeah.
that really intense slowdown in the
Yes.
middle of the song, and this one does it to a degree, but nowhere near the
No.
level of Master.
Right.
Um, well, I mean, and you can see that they learned from this song when they finally got to the Master
Right.
album.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why this album is actually my favorite from them, because it was such a game changer both for the band and for the genre. There's such a giant leap from Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning as far as songwriting and performance and everything. So
Oh God, it's not the same band.
no, it's not. I mean, you can hear some things, but yeah, you can hear a lot more of Cliff's influence on the songwriting, and they were willing to try new things. So yeah, it's obvious, and this is one of the songs that, you know, tells you that they had grown quickly in that short amount of time. So, all right, let's jump to our next to the cover version from Megadeth. It appears on the self-titled final, quote unquote, final album from Megadeth. And it's a bonus track, and it is on side D. But yeah, so it is a bonus track on all the releases, interesting enough. And first thing I noticed when I looked at the runtime is actually 26 seconds shorter than the original. So,
Yep.
and we'll get to reasons why. So anyway, so you have a statement prepared from Dave Mustaine on this particular song.
Yeah, we email each other on a regular basis.
You've met him
No,
enough.
I just twice. So, according to Dave, on the new album, we recorded a Ride the Lightning. The reason we did this was obviously it's a song that I had a lot to do with the writing of. When James and I were working on the song, it became clear to me when he first started playing guitar how good of a guitar player he was. I thought it would be really cool to close the circle, to show respect, and to play songs that I've written with Metallica to honor our friendship. And even though it's been strained, and ruined from emotions over the years, when we were not necessarily friendly. But one thing I've always had is a tremendous respect for James's guitar playing and Lars's songwriting. So it was cool to do this and add it to the record. We sped it up just a little bit and played
Yes.
around with the solos. Timo and I tossed it back and forth to each other, so you might hear some differences with the tempos. And of course, I sing differently from James too. But once again, it was about completing the circle and showing that James and I, as guitar players, did change the world. And there's no disagreement, or you can't argue that fact if you're a fan of thrash.
No, no, agreed, agreed. Now, I do find it funny that yes, they did speed up a bit. That's one of the first things I noticed when I started listening to it was that this is a little faster, which
Yep.
I'm totally cool with, and he mentions that the solos are a little different, and he's right, but I was still surprised at how much of the drum fills and the guitars were similar to the original. There's only a few times where we really notice the difference in the solos, but they're
Yeah.
there, you know. But yeah, it's that was kind of surprising in my mind. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, they're there, but they're very similar, but they're also very different at the same time. I mean, I don't think I'm stepping on anyone's toes by saying this. Dave is a much more technical player than James, and I would even argue Kirk.
Yeah,
Um,
I think his solos are better, ultimately than Kirk's. You know, what I mean, I think he
uh-huh.
has a gift. He definitely has a gift for riffs. But yes, yes, I would agree with that.
And he surrounds himself with guys. I mean, every lineup of this band has had a phenomenal lead guitarist or co-lead, because I don't think either one of those guys could really be considered a rhythm guitarist, and they push each other.
Yeah,
I mean, this new guy they have, Timu, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name.
yeah, I
I'm
know, right?
probably butchering his first name, and I apologize. Um, is just incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
he reminds me so much of Marty Friedman. Um,
right,
excuse me, and a little bit of Broderick, my two favorite guys from the band.
right.
Um, that it's scary, but you can hear the influence of, okay, let's keep this close to the original, but we need to make it our own. I mean, like you said, they made it faster. There's no denying that. You hear it
No,
right from the get go.
yeah,
And Dirk, the drummer, he's got some really cool fills, especially towards the end after the
yes.
breakdown. There's a fill that I don't think's on the original,
It's
and
di- it's different. Like I said, there's some of them that are very much like they were good before. I'm just going to leave these in, and then there's a few things he does that are very much his.
yeah,
And the production I think is crisper, but I think part of that is number one, we're talking 40 years difference.
yeah,
Better equipment, and you also have way more established, performers now
hmm,
than then. So I kind of write that off as, I don't think that really influences my feeling on the record at all because that's just how it happens. But there's one thing I noticed, and it took me a few listens before I caught on. They drop out a few measures at the beginning and a few measures at the end of the song. Um, right before they go into the first verse, they skip a whole section of music. And then they do the same thing right before they go to the last verse. And you have to pay attention because, like I said, it was like my fourth or fifth time. I'm like, wait a minute, something, because I was doing it in my head, and I'm like, wait a
hmm,
minute, something's missing. So real subtle, but it's there, and it gets you to the verse almost 7 seconds quicker. And it also, like I said, it cuts out a little bit at the very end too, which also can account for the 26-second, differential. Obviously they're playing it faster, but they also dropped out, you know, some of the music. So I missed it for first few times listening to it, and then I'm like, okay, And to Dave's point, vocal wise, personally, I kind of prefer Hetfield's vocals over Dave's. But that's,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not bad. I'm not saying Dave's vocals are bad. They are different and they are very
yeah,
much Dave. But I guess it's just for years I've been hearing Hetfield's version. Now, if I was to compare it to a live version of Hetfield now versus Dave, that'll be a little bit closer. But we're going from recorded
yeah.
versions.
I think James' vocals, like I said earlier on, are more enhanced than
Yep.
Dave's are. Dave's are more raw, so it's almost like a demo quality sound on his vocals. And let's face it, the guy's getting up there in years.
Well, yeah.
His voice is not as strong as it once was.
Agreed.
And you can hear the age in it. Um,
Right.
but I mean, it works for the song. It's not as upfront
Young.
as it's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that. There's definitely what we're looking at. What, 40 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
42, technically 42 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we're looking at 42 years in between recordings. So, yeah, I mean, my voice doesn't sound like it did 42 years ago.
Mine doesn't sound like it did 5 years ago. So, but yeah, I mean, in general, it's a good cover. It's while there's still a lot of it that is familiar, there's enough that can make you go, when you listen to it, you're like, that's Megadeth. Obviously
Yeah,
Dave's voice is very identifiable, but you can tell they did enough to make it their own. But that's where we'll leave it for now.
and I
Any
think that
other?
was kind of the point of it.
Yeah, yeah. Any other thoughts, likes, or anything you want to throw out before we go ahead and do our little final judgment thing?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, cool. So, all right, this is the on so many of these different versus episodes we've done. It's been really easy on the ones where there's a lot of years difference, different style or whatever, where it's easy to pick. Or sometimes when you're like, well, yeah, their cover is good, but it's not better than the original. So I'm not gonna lie, this was a little hard at first, but after I sat down and thought about it, I was easy to make up my mind. So, which one are you picking? Which one's better? Which one do you prefer?
All right, I'm going to piss you off.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
And I can't really pick a winner in this one.
Oh well,
So
that's just
no, no,
that's
no, no,
wussing
no.
it out.
Hang on. I know I'm not wussing it out.
All
So
right,
I broke it down a little bit more in order so I could have winners in categories.
all right, that's cool.
So vocally and overall sound wise, I actually like the original better.
Okay,
It sounds fuller.
all right, interesting. Okay,
Um, and that's probably, again, like you said, due to the advances in audio um, and recording. The Megadeth version, it doesn't sound like the guitars are doubled like they might be on Metallica,
Hmm.
on the Metallica version. James's vocals are, 40 years younger, so he's got a stronger voice and they are more enhanced.
Okay,
So I've got to give that to Metallica. But for performance wise, as far as technical goes, speed, musicianship, I have to give the edge to Megadeth because I think they are overall better musicians than Metallica are. Um, and
I
that's
don't have
not
any problem with
knocking
that.
that's
That's
not
fair.
knocking Metallica at all. I mean, I love to jump on the Let's Beat Lars Down bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm not.
Excuse me.
I'm not that
But
person. I don't do that.
no, no. Well, Lars is one of your big influences, and
He was. Yes, he
and I
was.
respect that, and I respect Lars. I think Dirk is a better technical player
Oh,
than
yeah,
Lars.
I'm not going to say he's not. No, I agree
He's
with
de-
that.
he's definitely a faster player than Lars, and you hear it in the song because there's basically blast beats in the Megadeth version that they're not in the Metallica version. So it's a tough one to pick a decisive winner.
Okay.
So I really can't. It's like 60-40 in each. I like 60% of the Metallica one, 40% of the Megadeth one. Then when I flip it and look at it from another side, it's the exact opposite.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, if I have to go, then I'm going to have to give the edge to the original because that's the one that got it started.
Right.
If I have to pick a clear winner.
And honestly, for me, I'm kind of on the same boat with you. Megadeth did a good job with the song. I do like the fact that they sped it up. I like the changes they made. It made it a little bit tighter of a song. But for me, it's not better overall than the original. As far as like, if I'm AB and I'm not going, well, this is so much better. They did this right.
Mhm.
And so for me to pick the remake, or the cover, I'd have to say it's better, and it's not. They made changes. They did a good job. They did a very good version for them, but the original will always hold a spot in my heart. And so, yeah, they're both good, but there's not enough better in the new one for it to overtake the original. So,
Yeah.
but I do agree on what you've said. To me, I kind of do like the production on the new one. It's cleaner in a way, but at the same time, that just feels weird, for the genre. It just
It
feels a little
does,
too
yeah.
clean. It just feels a little too clean, but that's okay. So, yeah, we're kind of, I mean, I picked the original and you kind of picked a little bit of both, and that's fine. a
I
little from
think
column
what
A, a little from column B.
Right, right. I think where it really suffers from, and this occurred to me while we were talking, is it may not have been the right choice for Megadeth to cover.
Hmm.
I think Megadeth. What I would have liked to hear, and like I said, it just occurred to me, is I would have liked to have heard them tackle "Seek and Destroy" because I
Interesting. I
think
was
that
actually going to ask you which one of his songs that he was a part of would you want that? And I'm kind of curious. Let me go back through the track listing here. So he has a writing credit on the Four Horsemen, which we know about, and he definitely did not make a better
yeah,
version of
we're
that.
not talking about that one
No, we're
again.
not. He actually has no writing credit for Seek and Destroy. He does
Okay,
have
I
for
was
Metal
wrong.
Militia and Phantom Lord, and yeah. So and Jump in the Fire. So
Jump in the fire might have worked.
yeah, I would have been okay with
Um,
that. I would have been okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, did he have to do something that he had a writing credit on?
Yeah. So to me, I would like to have heard a version of Phantom Lord. I think that would have been interesting to see what he would have done with that.
Yeah. I
So
mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to see Megadeth play it and Hetfield sing it.
interesting. Interesting.
I mean, I don't think he could do it now, but give me
Nah.
James from 40 years ago and in this, and it would probably work.
Right. Right. All right. All right. Very cool. All right. Well, that's the end of that one. And so, you know, viewers, let us know what you think. AB these two songs, see which one you like better, or maybe you can do what John did: is pick a little bit of one and a little bit of the other, and where do you land on these? So I want to thank, of course, John for joining me. It was actually his suggestion that we cover these two songs. We have a huge list of verses ideas, and he was like, "Let's just get crazy and cover those two." I'm like, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I keep coming up with more and more to add to the list
Oh,
too.
that's all right. I over the weekend I added two more comparisons, so it's fine. We actually have probably enough at this point to do, to fill out the rest of the year. So we've just got to record them all. But yes, of course, as every influencer and YouTuber says, like, comment, and subscribe. So that way you get a little notification every time we drop a new video. Every Friday is the goal, is the plan, and top sevens and versus episodes. So let us know what you think. And if there is a certain song, original, and a cover you want to hear us discuss, drop it in the comments and we will get to it. A friend of mine, actually a guy that lives on my route, has made a suggestion, and we will be getting to it. It's a Machine Head covering an Iron Maiden song, so which will be tough for me because I don't think there's any way to do an Iron Maiden song better than they did it, but we're going to find out. So anyway, let's get out of here. And as always, thank you very much for watching.